Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Game Hub. I'm your host, GamerK's, and it's freezing in Canada. You guys have no clue if you're not from Canada. It's about negative 13 degrees yesterday and the day before, so I had to take precautions with my favorite sweater. Now, let's get to my top list. Because Kingdom Hearts 3 did come out, for the next couple episodes, I'm going to be doing Kingdom Hearts related until we hit to the finale. And today we'll be doing my top 13 favorite enemies of the Heartless. Now, you know what? No joke, no skit. Let's just get right down to the list. Coming at number 13 are the creep worms. Now, these enemies, I don't think you can really call them enemies because they don't do much. They appear in Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2. For those of you who don't know, just say 358 Days. They appear in Halloween Town, and they're by far the weakest Heartless you'll ever have to face. For the main fact is they have 1 health. Probably little more than that, but all they do is scuttle about Halloween Town, and yeah, they're pretty much there just for the mission for collect hearts. Not to mention we get to see one get snacked on by the boss of Halloween Town in that game. But I digress. The design for it's pretty simple. It's just a bug. A very big bug that's not even threatening. Doesn't attack, doesn't defend, just scuttles about. So let's get over it. Coming at number 12. Kingdom Hearts 1 enemies don't really get far on my list. Because they were just trying. Some of them just seem like they're just rehashes of other ones, like the pirate and the bandits from Agrabah and Neverland. But the Search Ghost gets on my list. This one just screams. Oddly enough, another Halloween Town favorite. These things appear in the beginning of the game or the beginning of the level, but they don't attack you for some reason or another. Not to mention they do have the grand performance when Jack is entered. And it just gives it another creep factor and just another bit of awesomeness of these enemies. And they're really cool. They're pretty much floating ghosts with one eye coming out in a chain, and one of the other eyes like a searchlight. So whenever they see you, they'll go crazy and attack you. I love the design of this. It definitely screams Halloween. It definitely screams spooky. It's lower on the list is because how often it's used, like in Atlantica. Does that thing look like it belongs in a water world? I mean, they could have changed it up, make it a manta instead of a search ghost if they were doing that. But no, they kept the search ghost. Anyway, I'm not going to dive so much into it because this is a top list. I'll leave all my negative stuff for all my bad lists. Coming up next on number 11, the Devastator. Not this Devastator. Thank you. Now, the Devastator I'm talking about is from Kingdom Hearts 2 from Space Paranoids. This thing was a beefy enemy for me when I started playing Kingdom Hearts 2. 1 second, just gotta fix the leg. There we go. In Kingdom Hearts 2. Basically, it was one of those techno Heartless, along with the other 2 that were in the world. But this one gets on the list because of how difficult it was. This is one of the few enemies on the list that had the most health during the game. Whether it's in the air attacking you with its body, or on the ground as a tank and shooting at you, it was a pretty fun. I love how the concept where it goes to blue electricity as it shapeshifts from air to ground mode. Not to mention just the color of this enemy. I love it's basic black with a neon purple for the technological coloring of the world, and it shines so much better than if they use like blue or something. So yeah, definitely on this list for just the design factor and how cool it looked. Number 10, it brings me to the old nostalgic days of old cartoons where random objects could come alive. The Hammer Frame. Just seeing this thing in Timeless River screams nostalgic cartoon to me because it's basically a walking hammer. And seeing them in the construction zone really makes this enemy feel like it belongs to this world specifically. Whether it's charging at you and then slamming its face, or just hitting you randomly. Sorry about that, the camera got off, of course. The hammer frame is really a cool... This is a key example of when you're designing an enemy for a certain location, it needs to feel like it fits in this world. And Kingdom Hearts does that exceptional for creating specific enemies for a specific world and area. For like, it would be kind of weird for like a jungle themed level if you had like a machine enemy there. It doesn't fit. Having the specific enemy for a specific area is key in a video game. And the hammer frame is definitely an example of where they took their inspiration from the old cartoons. So yeah, it's hammer time, but on to the next one. Coming in at number 9, for Kingdom Hearts fans, you know those floating things that have all the different elemental attacks? Those things annoy the hell out of me, mainly because it's pretty much the same enemies, just different colors and different elemental attacks. They're all named after a certain color, along with a certain type of dance routine or music. And boy, did 358 Days really scrape the bottom of the barrel when they had to come up with a whole bunch of them for enemies and mini bosses. But the Crimson Jazz gets on this list. For the main fact is it's one of the few ones that really gives you any trouble. When there's a whole bunch of them, they'll conjure up the molten spheres and they'll follow you. And it won't be just when you're near them. No, they will conjure them up as you're running away. And it's a real pain in the rear if you're not really adept at moving around quickly during the battle. The design is pretty much the same thing, red with a couple streaks of yellow. So it's a pretty good designed enemy. It's a really fun enemy, and it's easy and it's fun to beat the heck out of them. Coming at number 8, the Power Wild. The fact that they came back for Kingdom Hearts 3, I love it. I love these enemies from Deep Jungle. For the main fact is these enemies feel like they fit to this world because they're simian Heartless. And yes, they are weak, but when a whole bunch of them get together and start pounding on you, it makes or breaks the battle. I love the color of these enemies. Instead of going like brown for a monkey, they go into this grayish blue. And I love it. It makes them feel more evil than playful. And that's what really gets these guys on the list. The Simian Heartless that I love that they're back in Kingdom Hearts 3, and I love fighting them now more than I did in Kingdom Hearts 1. Coming in at number 7, the Armored Knight. I was really hoping to see a Knight Heartless in Kingdom Hearts 1 because, well, we have a soldier, but we didn't get a knight. The Kingdom Hearts 2, the Armored Knight, are so well designed. It's fully armored with their blade arm that's permanently their hand, and the fact that you fight a good dozen of them within the 1,000 Heartless battle in Hollow Bastion makes them all the cooler, because as they gang up on you, that's where it really tests how well you are at combating a whole bunch of different enemies. Plus, their reaction command really makes the fight a lot easier, because you just weed through them so quickly. But what gets them higher on the list is just their overall design. They didn't go really overboard by making it like a full knight with a suit of armor and a Heartless is controlling it. They made it an entire character with just a little bit of design elements. Coming in at number 6 is by far... Okay, it's not on the it's not the top of the list, but it's near the middle. I love this thing, the Hot Rod. This is another key example of taking inspiration from the world and the time era and just creating a fun enemy. You are fighting a car. A cartoony car that looks like to be the love child of Herbie Fully Loaded and the Doom Buggy from Josie and the Pussycats. For those of you who don't know what that is, ask your parents. If they don't know, ask their parents. And if they don't know, just Google it like everyone else does. This thing is so ridiculously strong. During my first playthrough of Kingdom Hearts 2, these things killed me to no end. They hit you with their wheel hands, and then when they get pissed off, they start driving themselves all across the field trying to hit you like my sister does in the morning when she drives off before she gets her cup of coffee. Talk about road rage waiting to happen. And in the final mix version, they keep the color palette of these things nostalgic black and white noir. I love these enemies just because their design of how cartoony it looks, how threatening they are, and just an overall joy to watch. Mimi, let's get to it. Coming at number 5. Almost skipped one. Number 5, the Assault Rider. My girlfriend is probably already hating these characters because she just finished The Land of Dragons. And for any newcomer to Kingdom Hearts who play Kingdom Hearts 2, these things were a bitch to fight because in early game they were the ones with the most health. Not to mention they throw explosions at you, they charge, and then they'll spin their spear at you, which does multiple damage. Not to mention they'll jump around the area. A really fun and difficult first major enemy while you're in the beginning of the game. Overall, the design's pretty good. I like the Chinese armor general with the horse legs. It kind of reminds me of the scenes from Mulan when Mushu was in the suit of armor on top of a panda. I like how I think that's where they got some of their inspiration of how to do that. Mixing the general with the horse to make it into a complete threat in this world. And I just love the design of it and the color play and how tough they are right off the bat. And even while you go through the game, they get harder and harder to beat. So, Assault Rider, definitely a 4-star Heartless, but it doesn't make the list. The top of the list. Number 4, the Defender. Another Kingdom Hearts 1 enemy, which gets high on the list. Mainly, I like this one more for its design than for its combat. The Defender comes very late in Kingdom Hearts 1, coming in around Hollow Bastion. They look like big, bulky knights with giant shields with a demonic wolf for a face that shoots out dark fire at you. Much like the fat body, the large body, and the tank toppler, this enemy can't be hit from the front. I don't enjoy enemies where you gotta position yourself to attack them. I think that's just, it develops a challenge, but I prefer just hitting them right up front. The design of it's pretty cool with its navy blue and dark blue body with the touches of light pink a little bit, or like light dark purple in the face, and the wolf head's not that bad of a design either. I just wish these things would do more instead of just stand around. Now we get to the top 3, and all 3 of these have a wild attack style, so I love it. Coming in at number 3, another Halloween Town Heartless, the White Knight. Just the design of this Heartless alone makes you know what world it was supposed to be in. Its body is like paper thin, and it moves so creepily, and it's a mummy with one yellow eye coming through. The way it moves, it just screams Halloween, and the way it attacks is it too. It spins its body around to swipe at you with its claws. It jumps and scratches you, and the more of these that get around you, the harder it's gonna be. The design is basic, but it's the fact that it just, the minute you look at this Heartless, you know what world it's from. And it's, the design and its attack style gets it the number 3 spot. Coming at number 2, the Neo Shadows. You know that meme that's been going around for a couple years where it says, you know that kid you made fun of in high school? This is him now. This is pretty much what happens when you take the Shadow and then show the Neo Shadow. They stretched it out and gave it a more wild attack pattern. where it does the same thing as the White Knight. It jumps, it scratches at you with its claws, it goes into the floor to evade attacks, but it does it. But this is the example of taking a lesser enemy and showing its evolved form surprisingly well. I love this enemy for this specific reason, and they do keep the black tones, but they added a bit of like dark blue in certain parts of it so you can practically see it, so it's not all pitch black like the Shadow. The Neo Shadow gets number 2 on the list, basically because of how when a whole bunch of them get together, it's difficult to do. And when one's around and you're not that sure what to do, it's more difficult to fight. So, that's why I love this enemy. Number 1, we go to the Pride Lands and find the Living Bone. This thing is creepy, it's strong, and it's a damn great enemy. This is my favorite enemy of the Heartless overall. Even if I include the Kingdom Hearts 3, a Heartless on this, Living Bone's still on the top of the list. The design just looks so good. It's a 2-legged creature with a dinosaur-like bone face, and it's a club tail. And just the way it hops around and it spins while it attacks you. For those of you who are watching this, who are Kingdom Hearts fans, tell me how many times you died the first time you went to Pride Lands because you had to fight 2 of these things while protecting Nala. Tell me how many times you died before you, by the skin of your teeth, you got out alive. Because they're ferocious, they're wild, and you can never pin them down because of how the mechanics in the Pride Lands work. That alone gets these enemies on the top list, and their design and attack style get them right on the top, and it keeps them on that space. Because, yes, you do get to fight them as regular Sora in the Colosseum, but fighting them in the Pride Lands is a real test of your patience, your skill, and yes, your patience. The Living Bone gets GamerK's number 1 spot for the Heartless. God, I need a trophy. I need to have someone build me a replica of these enemies so I can put them like trophies to see who's on top. It's an idea for another day. Well, that was where GamerK's top 13 Heartless enemies. Hope you really enjoyed the list. Like, comment down below of your favorite Heartless enemies. And get a conversation going, hopefully. Coming up next week, we don the cloak as we discuss the nobodies. This is GamerK, logging out.